yeah, Bera has a ton of like DeFi native degens, but also a bunch of people are just here for the culture. So like I'd say most people in the Yeetard community or like holders of the Yeetard NFTs probably don't know and probably don't even care about all the liquidity shit going on behind the scenes. We're just here because it's fun, and some idiots are burning NFTs and making them deflationary for the rest of us. So thank you, idiots. So we felt there was a good alignment there between us and Berachain, and also the team is awesome. I think there's lots of cool people here and a lot of like DeFi native people where if all these liquidity games we do want to play, we can have these conversations more easily in Berachain.
Greetings, everybody. Welcome to Flywheel, your number one source for everything crypto, DeFi, and all that's in between. If you want to know what's going on in the world on chain, well, you've come to the right place. This is DeFi Dave here with capital K, and we are here to help you harness the power of the flywheel. And this time around, we don't just have one flywheel, we have multiple flywheels going on at once. We get Yeetarded this episode because we have on the chief Yeetard himself, Lord Pemby of Yeet and the entire Yeet ecosystem coming on, talking everything Yeet from the game to the NFTs to the bonds and what his master plan is. Kit, what did you think of this one?
I just wanted to apologize to the audience beforehand because Dave and I went a little too punny with this one. We yeeted too much. So apologize for our overexcitement.
We really yeeted this. I don't think you can overeat. I don't think that's possible, but maybe. But yeah, no, this was a fun one. Lord Pemby, actually, we met, on the conference circuit. I remember him asking to come on back at ETHCC. And then I just kept on seeing him around. And then we had, Johnny on, and he recommended Lord Pemby. I was like, all right, now's the time. So, yeah, I hope everyone enjoys this one. But before we get into it, make sure you go ahead, hit that bell button, subscribe if you're on YouTube, give us a like, let us know what you think in the comments. Follow us on all of our socials on Twitter, X, TikTok, Telegram, at Flywheel DeFi. You can follow me on Twitter X at DeFiDave22.
And follow me at 0x_K.
And let's get the flywheel spinning. Yeet, yeet, yeet. Yeet, yeet. Yeetarded. Yeet, yeet, yeet. Lord Pemby. Yeet, yeet. Yeet, 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 yeet. Thank you for that introduction.
Sleep, repeat.
Sleep, eat, sleep, repeat, yeet. All right, everybody. We have Lord Pemby on the pod. He is the founder and chief Yeetard of Yeet, which is building a whole suite of Yeet products, games, trolls, bonzies in the Bera ecosystem. Lord Pemby, thank you so much for coming on.
Yo, yeet, yeet. No, thank you guys for having me on. You will regret it.
I will, yes. Yeah. I am not looking forward to that.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So, to get this started, can you give a bit of your background and how'd you get into building in the Berachain ecosystem?
Okay, for sure. So I used to do some mechanism design in DeFi, some VC stuff, built a previous protocol before in DeFi. And I've always kind of had an eye for the Ponzi's, and I always wanted to build some kind of game theoretic DeFi thingy. So I actually came up with something like a year or two ago, which was way, way more complex than what Yeet is today. And I was talking with a bunch of people about it, just try hone the idea a bit. So me and my co-founder Koala were iterating on it and stuff. And I was talking to one friend one day who's an investor in Berachain, and he said, "Yo, this is fucking crazy. You got to launch it in Berachain." And introduced us to the Bera guys, and we hit it off, and we said, yeah, this is the place for us. And that was a year ago, a bit over a year. So yeah, here we are.
Yeah, and what exactly is Yeet? So like you were saying before, you thought of a really complicated version of the game. So is Yeet a simpler version of the game, an intro version of the game?
Yeah, so Yeet today is comprised of two products. The flagship product, the Yeet Ponzi, is that game theoretic thing. And yes, it's a much simplified version of like the V0 that we had, because that shit was like way over the top. Yeah.
Well, okay, so this is like the intro to people. This is like the, the test net, like, okay, like, let's like get the toes a little wet, like, let's get people warmed up. And then once Berachain launches, that's when V0 comes out.
No. So what we currently have on testnet is what will be on mainnet as well. The thing is with the complex V0 version is that like no one would get it. Like only 7 nerds would be playing it. And we want to make it much more accessible.
So it's too complicated.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, got it. But do you still plan to launch that one or no?
I don't know, maybe one day. But it's not the kind of thing I'd expect a lot of people to try it and play, just because it's not so friendly, not so welcoming.
Does that mean there's like a V1, V2? Is there like some super advanced Gigabonzi nerd version of this game?
Yeah, there is somewhere. Yeah.
Oh, there's levels.
Yeah. But we like what we've arrived at. We think it like suits people from the left and right curve, which was the goal. You can just come and fucking yeet. Mm-hmm. And
let's dive into that. So what is it today that you're going to bring to mainnet?
Okay, so the flagship product, the Yeet Ponzi, is a game. And in this game, people yeet Bera into a pool. And what's happening here is that people can then can win Bera from this pool using a variety of different methods. There's 3 main ways to win Bera from this pool. The first way is by being the last person to make a yeet before the game ends. So for a bit of context, there's a timer that counts down from 1 hour towards 0. When the timer hits 0, the game ends. Whoever made the last yeet wins the money in the pot. So what if, someone comes in and like backruns or like makes a yeet at the last second? So you can't do that because every time a yeet is made, it resets the timer to an hour. Like this is designed to be a game for humans. So if you have some like edge because you can write bots or you're a fucking AI agent or whatever the hell we have on crypto Twitter these days, you won't have like an edge over the human yeetards. So that's number 1. That's the first way to win, and that's how you win the grand prize. When someone makes a yeet, some money is taxed, like some goes to treasury, some goes to stakers, which we'll get into in a second. So after the tax, 80% goes into what we call the prize pool and 20% goes into the lottery pool. So the prize pool is what's won by the final yeetard, and the lottery pool at the end of the game is split amongst 10 random players. So even if you don't win the prize pool, you can get lucky and win a lottery. So that's 2 ways to win. The third way to win is by having exposure to the Yeet token and staking it. Because just by staking that token, you're earning a cut of all the yeeting volume happening. So you say, hey, this is a game for idiots. I don't want to play. And actually, I agree with you. I think it is a game for idiots and you shouldn't play. But you can go long on human idiocy, which is what I plan to do just by staking the Yeet token.
Got it.
That's a bulletproof strategy right there, going long on human idiocracy.
Let me try to summarize this product. So effectively, it starts as a pool, and in this pool, people gets to deposit Bera into it. Mm-hmm. And every time there's a new deposit, the time is extended by an hour so that it's bot free and it's more Yeetard-friendly. Okay. Mm-hmm. And there is a minimum though. You can't just yeet like 0.0001 Bera. You have to yeet 0.5% of the total size of the committed deposit, right? So there's going to be a point in time when it's too expensive to yeet. But the interesting thing is the payout is actually 80% to the single winner, who's the last yeeter, the latest yeet. And 20% is distributed randomly to, is it 10 folks or is it 20 folks?
Yes, 10.
10. So they each basically get 2%.
Yeah.
So all the yeetards get 2% of the prize. 10 yeetards get 2% of the prize pool. 1 yeetard gets 80% of the pool. Right. So that's how the game works. But what's interesting is you actually get the Yeet token every single time you deposit Bera. So there is a way for you to win even when you lose because you get Yeet.
Wait, so every time you like deposit, you throw in Bera, you get Yeet back?
Correct. So what's happening here, by the way, he had beautifully not only summarized, but supplemented as well with other information. He's winking right now. I don't know if there's video on this podcast, if he goes on Twitter, but so what happens every epoch, which is 24 hours, there's a distribution of the Yeet token. And this is distributed to players who participated in the game over the past epoch, and the Yeet tokens are distributed pro rata based on the volume they did. So if you did 50% of the volume for the last day, then you get 50% of the tokens to be emitted today. So that's why even though there's a minimum Yeet amount, which you rightfully pointed out, people may still have an incentive to Yeet above the minimum amount because it means they'll farm more of the Yeet token. So there emerges theory. Exactly. There emerges a metagame here and like some long tail MEV stuff, which is cool.
Very interesting. And also, could you share with me, like, I don't get 100% of the Yeet, right? There's some kind of a tax system here to make it sustainable?
Yes, correct. So let's say you Yeet 10 Bera. So firstly, 5% of that is going to the Yeet treasury to sustain operations and blah, 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 and let us buy new spinning rims for our Lambos, all that good stuff. 9% is going to the Yeet stakers, right? The way the staking mechanism is actually going to change, and we've built something new here, but we'll be announcing that soon. And the rest just is split between 1% goes to public goods funding. Sorry, I forgot about that, which is like the most important thing. I probably shouldn't forget that. And so the remainder is split 80-20 between prize pool and lottery pool. And these percentages I've just mentioned, we're actually working with a firm right now to find the optimal parameters. So they are liable to change.
Okay, understood. So if you could kind of break it down for me in more the appropriate percentage terms, not the 80-20, it's like all in aggregate. What percent goes to the treasury? What percent goes into the liquidity pool? And what percent goes into the public good? And then the split between the winner of the lottery and the lucky jackpot lottery winner.
Okay. 5% treasury, 1% public goods, 9% stakers, 75% or let's say 72% to the prize pool, and whatever remains, which I believe is 18%, 12.5%. Thank you. I can't do math. To the lottery pool.
Can't do math. Can't read.
Fuck yeah. Let's go. Yeah. But
that's right.
As I said, all these percentages are liable to change, and they're all configurable.
Got it. So, but then the mechanic, though, is that for every single Bera that goes into the pool, a portion of it, up to 15%, but subject to change, gets split across the more sustainable part of this protocol, and so that it can continue. Right.
Correct.
And then, how about the Yeet itself, though? Is there also a tax on the Yeet rewards that come out?
No.
Got it. So I get to keep 100% of the Yeets.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you got to Yeet your Bera way to earn it, but yeah.
Got it. So you don't double charge me. Okay, that's very fair.
Exactly. So hey, even if you Yeet some Bera, you don't win the lottery, you don't win the prize pool, at the very least, you're going to farm some Yeet tokens. Yeah. Sorry, Dave. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to ask, so you can stake your Yeet. Are there other things you can do with your Yeet? Do you have anything planned with Yeet in the future?
No, we're going to keep it super simple. Just stake it, and any benefits, any revenues that the protocol, any value that the protocol accrues, we will find a way of directing it to stakers in a legal way that's good for the stake. We want to keep it simple.
Got it. And isn't there like a penalty of some sort for the Yeet unstaking? Could you walk us through that?
Correct. So when unstaking Yeet, there is a 10-day unstaking period. But the here is that you can bypass this period for a variable fee. The fee starts at 50% of your principal staked Yeet position on day one and decreases 5% each day until reaching 0 on the 10th day. So let's say you staked 100 Yeet tokens and you say, 10-day unstaking period. I don't want to wait for this shit. I want my tokens right now. So you can pay the quick unstaking mechanism, but you will forfeit 50% of your 50 tokens, which will be burnt. But these fees they do not apply to any rewards you accrue while you're staking Yeet. Your staking rewards, you can claim at any time with 0 fees.
Are there other ways to burn Yeet?
Are there other ways to?
I mean, are there other sinks for Yeet?
Besides this, no.
Okay.
What we have built, though, kind of adjacent to the protocol, I'd say, is a lot of different yield farming flows, which do serve as sinks for Yeet. So we have found ways of incentivizing our LPs without even using our own token. We will be using it for bribes, of course, but we've managed to secure a lot of partner incentives in something we call the Liquidity Trifecta.
Ooh, can we get into that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we are on the Flywheel podcast after all, right? I guess
yes. Flywheel go butter.
Flywheel go Yeet.
Yeah, the Yeetwheel.
Yeah.
Right. So essentially what we've cooked up here of a partnership with Kodiak and Berachain, and later we'll be adding Infrared to the mix once we get whitelisted, but maybe I'll slow down here. So what's happening is that we will house our primary liquidity in a V3 pool on Kodiak. As part of our partnership agreement with Kodiak, they will be matching our incentives we send to that pool. But our incentives we send to that pool will not be in our own token. They'll be in Berachain's token. Berachain, for the unfamiliar, is like an outsourced incentivization layer, we can say. So we'll be making bribes on Berachain, hopefully to get leveraged capital flowing to our LPs, right? Which will then be matched by Kodiak's incentives. So therefore, our LPs are now earning, not only swap fees, but also Berachain's token and Kodiak's incentives as well. So who's earning the Yeet token here? It's like the Berachain governance power holders.
Okay, so
yeah.
So you're incentivizing Berachain with your token? Berachain is incentivizing the liquidity pool, and Kodiak's matching it.
Exactly. So what we have with Berachain, we have a token swap where they have a certain amount of our tokens that they can they will use exclusively for bribing our gauge. They can't use it for bribing any other gauge. Yes. And then we will also have some of their initial voting power, which we will use to just max vote for our gauge every single week. And that way, actually, we end up farming some of our own token as well, which we will just recycle
I've
into
heard
the
of
system.
that before.
Yeah.
And so how does Infrared fit into this once you get whitelisted?
Okay, so yeah, for the unfamiliar, like being whitelisted on Berachain just means like you can get a pool or a contract eligible to earn BGT rewards, which is Berachain's governance token. So Infrared is kind of like a liquid wrapper on top of this token, in addition to, well, it's kind of like the Convex of the Berachain ecosystem as well. It's kind of like if Lido and Convex had a baby. Like that's Infrared on Berachain. And so once our pool gets whitelisted, what happens here is that our pool LPs can now go stake their LP token on Infrared and start earning the wrapped version of BGT as well as Infrared's token. But what we're going to do, which is extra cheeky, is set up a new kind of gauge on Berachain. So LPs still take the Kodiak LP token, stake it in Berachain, and the Berachain contracts will then go and stake that in Infrared. So now the LPs are earning like 5 different tokens, right? And it just gives us more firepower to incentivize more liquidity, and gives us new avenues where to bribe, because now we can bribe on Infrared's gauges as well. So then each week when we sit down to execute our bribing strategies, we can look, which gauges are more capital efficient this week, where is there less competition, and kind of try and maximize the incentives our LPs get. And in addition to all of this, we'll also be farming a bunch of our protocol-owned liquidity. So we'll be farming all of this with our treasury as well, and recycling all our rewards into the system to give us more power in all the different various gauges and to play these liquidity games more effectively.
Okay. All right, so let's pause here. I really feel, I fellas, I really feel that we initially started very Yeetard-friendly, and then we went 0 to Yeet really quick. You know, yeah, 0 to 100 Yeet really quick. So let's slow it down here. At first, we have this fun little Bonzi game. Okay, we had a little Bonzi game where you deposit Bera and you get Yeet. All right, so even when you lose, you win. Now, with that Bera that is in this pool, 5% of it goes into the protocol treasury. Then the protocol treasury basically puts it into a liquidity pool of Yeet and Bera. This liquidity pool first lives on Kodiak, and Kodiak promised to match any emissions and rewards that comes into it. So now you guys went over to Berachain and start bribing the Berachain governance to start emitting into your guys' LP pool, which then Kodiak now matches. So everyone is super happy. Everyone's already earning 3 layers of yield: native swap fees, Kodiak, and Berachain tokens. Now, once you get whitelisted over at Infrared, you get another wrapper around that where you actually earn the stake BGT rewards in addition to infrared yield. So now +2 to the initial +3 yields. So now in total, you earn native swap fees, Kodiak tokens, Berachain tokens, SBGT, and then also the infrared tokens itself, IRED. So you have 5 layers of yield just by kind of, that's what's powering the engine of this whole machine. Is that correct?
That is correct. The asterisk here is that once we are whitelisted for BGT emissions and set up the infrared vault, is that Kodiak will likely stop matching incentives because it's something they do. Yeah.
Okay, understood. So, but then you're gonna give up 1 step to go 2 steps forward, right? I would imagine the emissions will be much higher. Understood. And then now it's like, this is not just it though. I also noticed you guys have a OTC bonding product as well too.
Yeah, exactly. But just very quickly before we move on to that.
Yeah.
So like this Yeetwheel we've just described, right? It means that more liquidity is flowing into our pool, right? And when more liquidity flows into a pool, it's essentially buying pressure as well on the the second token in the pool, which is essentially Yeet.
The Yeet.
So when the Yeet token itself is also absorbing this pressure, that means the incentives paid out to players in the Ponzi each epoch also gain more value. And when those incentives are more valuable, that incentivizes people to yeet more Bera. And when people yeet more Bera, there's more value. Yeah, exactly. So it's a very reflexive system.
Yes. And also not to mention the Yeet stakers, right? The Yeet stakers, who's also a sink for them to hold onto the Yeet. So actually there's even fewer in circulation, in supply, because they want to earn that protocol revenue and all the benefits that comes with it, right? Yeah, and now speaking of Yeet stakers, I also saw that you have some Yeetard NFTs that comes with some boosties.
Wait. Before we get to the Yeetard NFTs, let's go back to the bonds. Yeah.
All right.
Well, I think that the NFTs are related to the stakers though, right? Like it's not related to the bonds.
Are the NFTs related to the stakers? Are you asking, or
right? The NFTs give boost to the Yeet stakers, but it's nothing to do with the bonds, right?
No, so nothing to do with the bonds. But what's happening here is that if you hold a Yeetard NFT, you know how he said there's epochal distribution of Yeet tokens to players of the Ponzi. If you hold Yeetard NFT, you get boosted rewards. If you're also a player.
Oh. Okay, got it. So this is for the player, not for the Yeet staker.
Correct.
Understood. Why are people yeeting their Yeetard NFTs?
Great question. I have no idea. So for some context here, like people are burning their NFTs. And yeah, we just do it because we think it's funny. Like,
who was the first person to do that? Was it somebody in the community? Like, how did that start? And then something happened, like it was just a trend that just caught on?
Yeah, so the backstory here is that after our mint, of course, we had some difficulties, which led to like there being a bug and people not being able to mint a lot of the remaining NFTs. So we said, fuck it, we're just going to yeet these NFTs. And we burnt them. And we said, haha, yeet. And so after that, like, I don't remember who it was actually, but someone said, fuck it, I'm going to yeet my NFT as well. And we said, yo, dude, are you sure you're just lighting your money on fire? And he said, haha, yeah, let's go. So he did it. Then I thought it was funny. So I did it as well. And then it kind of caught on from there. And since then, we've had like 130, maybe like burns like that. This is like totally organic, GMO-free, non-incentivized burns. Like, we made it very clear there's no hidden surprise for you if you burn. Like, you're literally losing out on a bunch of shit. And yeah, just
social capital.
Yeah, I guess. You get a special red roll in Discord, So, I mean, wow. Yeah.
Damn, the reward. Cool. Okay, got it. And are we comfortable to moving on to the other product by the Yeet?
I feel like all these different things happening, such as one flywheel. It's multiple concurrent flywheels. It's like a machine, and like each cog spins on the other. That's how I imagine this.
Yes, indeed. So, but ultimately, our whole thesis is that we want to keep things Yeetard-friendly, right? Mm-hmm. So although we may have like a bunch of DeFi shit going on behind the scenes, the front we present and we want to present is, this is for Yeetards, just come and yeet. Stake and you can earn rewards. That's it. You don't have to worry about all the mechanics. We drive cars every day. I don't know how a fucking car engine works.
Right? I think that's so important, because a big, I guess, like fault of DeFi over the past few years is it getting too complicated, too big brained, and then people are just intimidated and are like, what the fuck, I don't even want to touch this. But like, you guys are just basically, okay, let's take a step back. What's Yeetard friendly? What are users actually going to use? And most importantly, like, what's actually going to be a good time and make people have fun?
Absolutely. So even all that like complex liquidity trifecta stuff we were talking earlier with like the various layers of yield and shit, dude, like if I talk about this with someone, like I'll probably give them a heart attack, right? Like, what the fuck is this shit? So all of that will be abstracted away as well. We don't want only the super DeFi savvy to be able to take advantage of these opportunities that we're creating. We want everyone to be able to. So abstractions will be built. It will be made Yeetard friendly.
Understood. Okay, Yeet bonds. So can we go into Yeet bonds? What are they, and how do they work?
Okay, Yeet bonds. Cool. So Yeet bonds is essentially just a front end on Berachain for Bond Protocol, aka Olympus Pro.
I remember them.
Yeah, exactly. So it's their contracts, they're deploying them, it's maintained by them. We're kind of the go-to-market, we're the distribution platform. And why we think this is, like, why we wanted to do this, there's multiple reasons. The main ones are because we think the UX around it, around purchasing and issuing bonds, could be improved in DeFi, could be made more Yeetard friendly, which is what we're trying to do. Because from the buyer's perspective, all you're doing is, hey, get this token at a discount to market price. What's the catch is that you have to wait a few days before you get the token. Like, it really is that simple. And we want to try convey that message to people. Like, hey, you like this token? Come get it at a discount, dude. Like, that's it. Come yeet into it. We've even toyed with the name of changing it from Yeet bonds to just Yeet OTC or Yeet sales, right? Because I think that more accurately conveys what's going on.
What about ETC?
Oh, Dave. That's actually pretty good. ETC.
Yes.
ETC.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. And I just gotta ask, it's like, what is the product vision and strategy around Yeet as a whole? Because it's kind of odd to me that you start with this kind of Ponzi game with really big yields, and then you out of nowhere have like a ETC product.
What's the master plan? Is this like
you're like I'm a little puzzled.
Yeah.
Okay, so the master plan is making DeFi Yeetard friendly, right? And Yeet bonds is just the first step in that direction, where we're taking something that may have seemed a bit scary or inaccessible to like just the average user of crypto Web3 and trying to make it easy, through our branding, through our go-to-market. And a big reasoning also for Yeet bonds specifically was because on Berachain and due to the way proof of liquidity works, many protocols, they care deeply about having protocol-owned liquidity and being able to farm BGT themselves. And of course, one of the best ways to bootstrap your own liquidity is via bonds. Nobody was doing this yet, and we immediately validated there was a lot of market fit for this kind of product, which is what informed this. So later on, the grand vision for Yeet, sorry, back to the question, is to build a Yeetarded gamified layer on top of all of Berachain DeFi, essentially.
Okay. You mentioned ETC helps with the bootstrapping of liquidity. Like, how does that work?
So in DeFi, protocols usually to incentivize liquidity either for their product or their token, they conduct liquidity mining, which means, hey, dude, put some liquidity here and I'm going to pay you in my token as long as you keep your liquidity there. And this is akin to like renting liquidity from the market, because the second you stop paying this rent, the liquidity evaporates. And often like you're giving your tokens to mercenary farmers, and the data all shows like they dump these tokens within 24 hours of receiving them. So Olympus last cycle came along and said, hey, what if we don't want to pay rent? What if we just want to fucking buy our liquidity? So they said, yo, we'll fucking buy your LP tokens from you. We're not going to pay you to hold them or stake them. We're just going to buy them from you. And that was the birth of like bonding in DeFi. And then Redacted, of course, which you guys are obviously familiar with, used bonding to great success, built up a great war chest of CVX and CRV and let them play these liquidity games and became more popular. And so that was how Olympus Pro was born. Like those Olympus guys, they created a marketplace for anyone to do this, right? And then it died out a bit. But we think it's a very nice, simple mechanism. And we think on Berachain specifically, protocol-owned liquidity is very important due to the mechanics of the chain. Okay. The thing is, with any kind of Yeetified abstracted product in DeFi, there will always be a noob tax, right? So like if like someone builds a vault to abstract a lot of yield strategies, there will be some fee taken. So for the people that are super DeFi native, they can always bypass those and also implement their own strategies, because a vault will be a preset strategy. So even though abstractions all exist, I still think some people will opt not to use them.
Yeah, makes sense. Yes, yeah, because I'm just imagining myself. Obviously, I love using DeFi, and I'm always on like kind of the latest bit, even if just playing around with it. But I'm just thinking is like, for the current user base that's gonna be on Berachain, like I would imagine it would be the pretty big brain DeFi head that already is down to go deep in the beginning.
I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of those people, but I think it's a lot more varied. I think it's just, there's a lot of people that are just attracted to the culture and just want to have fun, from my observations.
Okay, bears just want to have fun. Okay,
bears just want, Yeetards just want to have fun. Bears just want to have fun.
Okay, exactly. But the thing is, even with these abstractions, I feel that I don't think they all necessarily need to be consumer-facing products. Like part of the reason we're building abstractions is so that we can slot it into like other mechanisms we have going on and use it more easily as a Lego. If that makes sense. So it's not.
Yeah. Can you go further on that?
Sure. So can we cut this out of the podcast, please? Because we haven't announced it.
Okay. Wait. We can talk about it. If you don't want to, all right. If you want to just give a hint, like just want to give us a tease, whatever you're comfortable.
Okay. Give you a crumb. All right.
Just the yeet.
Yeah.
All right. So the liquidity trifecta stuff. If you stake the Yeet token, just by staking the Yeet token, single-sided, no risk of impermanent loss or anything, you'll still be able to harness the power of the yields of the liquidity trifecta. And you don't have to worry about anything, which also affects the core game Flywheel and the value that's funneled into the pool. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll have it at that. Okay, I want to move on to Berachain and what's going on there. And obviously, we've covered a lot of Berachain projects. We've covered Berachain stuff on the podcast. But in your own words, can you describe proof of liquidity?
Sure. So proof of liquidity is like if Curve Finance made a chain. So
that's how I describe it.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. But yeah, it is.
What does that mean?
So what it means is in a system like Curve Finance or VE tokenomics, what we have is a system where people who have power in the system, they have power to direct incentives to different places. When you have the power to direct incentives to different places, you can king make different protocols and token liquidity. So therefore, if you have this power, then people want to pay you to act in their favor, right? Which is all the bribing marketplaces we have and all the meta governance layers and whatever the hell. So if you have this, so if you give this power instead of to like some random token holder, and you give this power instead to a validator of a chain, you have less value leakage between the validators, the people making the chain run and their delegators, and some external protocol token holders. So that means that the chain itself can capture more value that it would otherwise leak to like the main VE33 DEX, right? Or lending market or whatever. I mean, in this case, the DEX, which emerges on every chain. So yeah, so Berachain has essentially taken these like metagames and like brought it closer to home, which means the chain itself and the most important stakeholders there capture more value as a result.
So what do you think it will take to win the POL game?
A shit ton of BGT. The same thing it takes to win the curve game. If you own the most CRV or CVX or whatever, you can compound that, and then like you can just start swinging your big liquid dick around. Yeah.
Yeah. And something I've like thought about, and I remember asking this with Jax and Cammy's episode, is on the way up, it's great. Like we all saw CRV and CVX last bowl during the curve wars. Like it was up only, like all the attention was there. Everybody was playing the game, but on the way down, not so great. And so I'm wondering, like, when we all know, yeah, it's going to go up, but it's going to go down too. What comes up comes down. What do you think Berachain can do to like prevent like a complete drop off? Like what can it do to kind of just like subsidize or just prevent, have some cushions for like when things like come back down to earth?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, first in DeFi, we love these reflexive systems, which are great on the way up, but terrible on the way down. I think in order to build any cushions or protection against this stuff, you have to necessarily extract some value on the way up in the form of some kind of tax, which then goes into the social welfare cushion, right? Like think of it like a country. Yeah, I guess.
And so what exactly makes up that social welfare in this case?
So in this case, an example of social welfare could be like some community-owned multisig directing emissions to protocols that felt have done like the ecosystem a great service, and it's not directing BGT based on like the max bribe it receives. It could be like a buyback and redistribution of Bera from some community multisig. It could be an RPGF kind of program, or is it GRPF, whatever, like the optimism
retrograde,
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like some kind of program like that to re-inject value into the ecosystem. And this value is accrued, from a tax. So an optimism, for example, is like the sequencer revenue, right? Where they get the stuff. In Berachain, it could be extracted at multiple points in the transaction, or value flow supply chain. And I guess like this kind of stuff could fund some of this like cushion or downside protection or public welfare in the dark times.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, go ahead, Kate.
I'm just gonna say, like, the dark times always comes, and that's one thing that I feel like from our experience over at Frax Finance, right? We saw Frax scale its stablecoin all the way up to multi-billion, and it was able to scale all the way back down to like the couple hundred millions. I mean, not couple, but still sizable. But the fact that I was able to make magnitudes leaps up and leaps down without really like depegging, because like the mechanism worked. I think that is something that other DeFi projects and protocols should definitely learn from.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess what's your plan or do you have even a plan to, educate other protocols and participants in the Berachain ecosystem about this social welfare. It's like, hey, I know times are good, but like, we should, have some things in order and have our ducks in a row when, things aren't so good.
Are we planning to educate other protocols on this?
Yeah.
Honestly,
no.
Honestly, no. Like maybe behind the scenes a bit, but publicly no, because I already feel we have too many things going on at Yeet where it's hard enough already to communicate them in a coherent way. So we don't need to add more stuff to the mix. Behind the scenes though, yes. And what furthermore Yeet does, because we believe in this stuff, as I said, we give 1% of our gross Yeeting volume to public goods funding. And that's just stuff we're giving away to public goods. So hopefully leading by example, I guess.
Yeah, you just took the words out of my mouth. Lead by example.
Yeet.
Yeah. Yeet. Okay.
Yeet.
And I actually I got this burning question on like this Yeet product specifically, your Bonzi game. Mm-hmm. Like, do you feel that building it in Bera is like a particularly unique PMF? Or could you be able to be yeeting on other chains as well?
I think you could yeet on other chains, but why we're doing it in Berachain? Because Berachain is very similar to Yeet in the sense that you have a lot of right curve stuff going on behind the scenes, but kind of the go-to-market and like front-facing stuff is like more left curve friendly and is like, hey, like let's just have fun. It's kind of like what you guys were saying earlier. Like, yeah, Bera has a ton of like DeFi native degens, but also a bunch of people are just here for the culture. So like, I'd say most people in the Yeetard community or like holders of the Yeetard NFTs probably don't know and probably don't even care about, all the liquidity shit going on behind the scenes. We're just here because it's fun, and some idiots are burning NFTs and making them deflationary for the rest of us. So thank you, idiots. So we felt there was a good alignment there between us in Berachain, and also the team is awesome. I think there's lots of cool people here and a lot of like DeFi native people where if all these liquidity games we do want to play, we can have these conversations more easily in Berachain because people get it more intuitively.
Got it. Okay. And when are you thinking of coming on mainnet? Just curious.
I will be ready to launch mainnet day one as soon as mainnet goes live.
Got it. And when is that?
Oh, I wish. Who knows? When mainnet? It's a fake chain.
Maybe sooner than people think.
Yeah. See, I'm trying to get like so Pemby. I literally asked this question and I pretend to be dumb on every single one of like Berachain projects because I feel like there's going to be an overlap of when everybody says their timing is, and I'm going to be able to discern where that exact launch time is.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be like pretty late 2027.
Oh, okay.
Now, Lord Pemby, I want to ask, why do you think Berachain has been so successful building community? What are some things they've done right? And like, what do you think other chains and communities and ecosystems can learn from them? Because I feel like we've seen a lot of roll-up chain launches that were just complete duds. Their communities were just bots and farmers and quote unquote mercenary capital and opportunists. And it's just basically once, the token launcher, the chain launcher, whatever, everybody just, left for the doors. But what do you think like Berachain has done right in its time?
Well, I think the trap a lot of chains fall into, right, is like often chains are born because some PhD somewhere like makes some like huge advancement in ZK or whatever. And they're like, oh, how do we turn this into a business? And people come in and they say, hey, you should make a blockchain or an L2 out of it. So what is born of this is some like very sleekly branded kind of thing that says, oh, like sub 69 millisecond, whatever, this chain solves world hunger, all this stuff. But like no one really cares. And also they're all shouting into the void. So Berachain didn't come along and try to do that. They didn't take themselves too seriously because, if you're just some normie looking in, every chain looks like it's going to solve all the world's problems. And there's just so many of them. So just by virtue of doing something different from that, I think they distinguish themselves. And also so many chains, I feel, try to compete on a technical level. Berachain also is not doing that. They're competing via economic innovations, not via technical innovations. So that was really cool. There's been more L2s popping up recently that are doing this as well. But Berachain, another thing it has going in its favor is that they've been like shit posting about it and talking about it for 2 years now, or even longer. So there has been like more time to build community, right? To be fair. But why this community has persisted, I feel, and been so sticky is because the people that have formed this community were the super DeFi natives. Right? A lot of people came into Berachain and were like in very DeFi-centric communities to begin with. Right? And so a lot of value alignment, it created a space where DeFi nerds wanted to hang out, but also you had these cute bears. So just the branding and visuals alone, I think, pulls in people. Right? There's definitely a page we've taken for Yeet as well. Yeah, and I think beyond that, like the kind of hires Berachain has made, they're not trying to, they're hiring also very crypto native people who understand the culture, who have networks in crypto, who can bring people in.
Not just crypto native people, but like an A team of crypto native people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, is it okay if we kind of double back to Yeet for a sec? I'm really curious on how you can go to market. Like, what kind of activations, campaigns are you thinking of doing to get people to Yeet?
So one thing we did early leading up to our mint is we ran a campaign where people would submit yeeting videos. So this would be videos of people like yeeting stuff out of windows, like literally like throwing shit out of windows and yelling yeet, which eventually evolved to people getting tattoos, people getting smashing eggs on their faces. Like we have literally over 80, I think, or 90 videos like this in a Google Drive. It's ridiculous. Like we try to make supercut videos of it, but every time we send them to a designer or a video editor, they just get a heart attack. So we have so much material like that, which help like kind of inform people of the culture of yeeting. But that doesn't really answer your question, right? You're like, how do we get people yeeting on mainnet? I guess the answer to this is just like making sure people are aware of it. So it's attention and education.
Got it. Any tactics in particular that you're thinking of doing for attention?
Kind of like the cultural activation, making Yeet a fun place, making it a brand that people want to engage with. It's cool. Hey, we can hang out here and be retarded. We can be dumb. We can go herder, and make fun of each other. We don't take ourselves too seriously. And it's become a fun place where people do want to hang out. And since we are there, we're talking about Yeet. We've implemented social features on the app, which allow like the culture and the game to marry a bit, right? So people troll each other on the Ponzi itself. And trying to create that crossover.
Is there a Yeetfurl program?
There is no Yeetfurl program, no.
Got it.
But what are you referring to here? Like if I refer you and you Yeet, I get some of your Yeet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I'm part of Yeet going. I guess a multiplayer Yeet.
Multiplayer Yeet. No, it's actually something we have discussed. And
multi-yeeter.
Yeah, multi-yeeter. Hey, what if I refer Kiet and he refers you and like his dog walker and whoever, Maybe we can build a whole multi-level yeeting.
Multi-yeeter marketing.
Yeah. And because I'm just trying to think like, yes, this game sounds fun, but it's only 24 hours, right? And I'm sorry, the game can go on, I guess, theoretically forever, or is there like a dead time somewhere?
Theoretically forever, but at some point the minimums will be so high that people will be priced out. But we've had games go for 8-9 days.
Okay, so this reminds me of like, I don't know if you guys remember, but back in I think 2017, 2018, but like FOMO 3D, like there was also a very similar thing where it's like it was basically a contract on ETH, and you just kept on depositing ETH into it, and then it grew to like an astronomical size. I forgot the total size of it, but and I think it only really picked up when it became so large that the pot was so massive that it got attention, I feel, or like it kind of reached, it has to pass that inflection point. You get what I'm trying to say? Like from the beginning, it will be hard to get the momentum and snowball going.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a chicken egg problem.
Yeah.
So, sorry, go ahead.
And I was going to say, I'd imagine you solve for that because of your Yeet emission, the 24-hour thing. And if there's so few people yeeting into it, then you get a really big Yeet amount. And then hopefully that Yeet incentive would incentivize people to Yeet in, I would imagine.
That is precisely it. And that's how we solve for the chicken egg thing. Because also all the liquidity strategies will be running in the background mean that people want Yeet just to be able to farm these rewards. And when people want Yeet, it means the incentives to come and Yeet and play the game become more valuable, which leads to the price pool going up. But even just on testnet, we've had what's nice with Yeet is because people are literally throwing away their Bera. Like we know for sure most people aren't Sybils using Yeet because you can't wash trade it or anything. But despite that, we've had so many unique addresses interacting. And we've had people building bots and reaching out to us on how they can build bots. And so
that's the key right there. Like having people from the outside wanting to participate, unique individuals, not just bots. Yeah.
I totally see this thing as like a Telegram mini app rather than, obviously the full desktop version, yes, as well too. But like if you could do it via like a Telegram bot or like with your group, like you can invite the Yeet bot into your group chat and it'll give like a reminder. It's like, hey, the Yeet timer is running low. Anybody wants to Yeet? And then you just one click Yeet, I think that's a way to get some distribution as well too.
That's a great idea. You'll be pleased to know we actually already have an integration with this TG bot called Berabot, where you can Yeet and stake and interact with our contracts via their TG bot. I really like this social aspect though, or like having a ping and a group chat.
Yeah, I think the group chat element and like everybody Yeets together, like everyone has access to the thing and everyone deposited Bera into this, Yeet bot, and then the Yeet, they play it as a multiplayer game now, right? Everyone gets a Yeet and everyone can decide like, hey guys, should Yeet or should we wait?
You get a Yeet.
Yeah. Yeah, what's nice also is we already have like 2 or 3 integrations also with platforms or protocols where people can pool money and then make monster Yeets together.
So you do have party Yeet already. Okay.
Collective Yeeting.
So we do have, the collective Yeeting. And like already because we've been so active in Berachain for so long, we have like a whole ecosystem of stuff already built on top of Yeet. Which is really exciting.
And that's also what is this ecosystem building on top of Yeet? I feel like we're an hour into this thing. You didn't mention this ecosystem.
That's the thing. There's too many things to talk about. So I don't want to just sit here and ramble endlessly.
Yeah. We can actually wrap up here. We did like a solid hour or so, and we can save the rest for another time, or if like users want to dive in themselves. I think this was a proper introduction to the ecosystem. But before we go, we always ask this question, Lord Pemby, who would you recommend as a guest? Who would you want to see on Flywheel?
Oh, I'd love to see Richard Hart on.
Oh, is that even possible? Is he doing appearances?
I don't know. Probably not. Who I'd love to see on really is maybe like Raito from Infrared, who we discussed.
I've been trying to get him on.
Yeah,
I think I can solve for that. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I think you guys can. But I think that's the right kind of person you want on the Flywheel podcast, because what they're building is very interesting.
Well, very cool, man. Thank you.
And where can people Yeet? Where can people follow Yeet? Where can people go Yeet? Where can people follow you?
So at this point, I usually say like you should turn around and run away as far as possible, because you should not engage with this at all if you have half a brain cell. However, failing that, and if you have like negative brain cells, such as myself, check out Yeetit, YEETIT.xyz. That's our website. You can find the Ponzi, you can find the bonding app, or also on testnet. And on Twitter, our handle is Eat Sleep Yeet. The logo is like a yellow bear with drool coming out its mouth. And on OpenSea, Yeetard NFTs. Yep, but links are all on the website if you go check that out. But you shouldn't, but if you do, they're all there.
Lord Pemby, thank you so much for coming on. We hope to see you again soon.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, brother.
Yeet. Thanks. Yeet.
Yeet.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the post-game show. I'm your host, DeFi Dave, here with Capital K. We are finishing off an episode with Chief Yeetard himself, Lord Pemby. And Kit, I said this right when the episode ended. This reminded me a lot of the Flywheel episodes of old. how he went really deep into DeFi protocols, into all the mechanics, the game theory. And what I like about Lord Pemby is he's abstracting all the complicated stuff away and just making it fun and really emphasizing the culture, which is something I said, like a lot of DeFi protocols may overlook because they like to get a little bit too complicated. But I think he's done a good job with that. And also, you know, I think he has a master plan here. Like, Yeet, the game is just the beginning.
Yeah. For me, what I personally really like is twofolds. One is the economic design. He solved the chicken and egg problem, right? Because my concern was usually with these things, it's number one, it doesn't get exciting until the pools gets big. So how do you solve for that? So he did. Then the second thing I was concerned about is like go to market and distribution. How do you get people to even know about this? And just because like he has built the track record already, right? Oh yeah, yes, my Yeetfurl program that we should totally get a link for. But you know, my point still being is that he had done the legwork already to have the distribution via the Yeetard NFTs, but also all the different projects that are integrated with the Yeet ecosystem from the very beginning. So I think that's kudos to the team for thinking so far ahead.
And honestly, if I'm building a project on Berachain and I'm looking for users, I feel like the Yeet community, especially those people that burn those NFTs. I know he said, "Oh, like there's nothing that comes from burning the NFT." I think something will come of it. I think something will. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I think a separate project is going to reward the Yeet burners as like a thing.
Yeah,
you know,
super Yeets.
Yeah.
The Yeet Hall of Fame.
The Hall of Yeets. Yes.
I love all the puns we can do with Yeet. Like we're just punning the whole episode, and like we're gonna continue to pun. And if you want to see us continue punning, make sure you hit that bell button, subscribe, give us a like, let us know what you think in the comments. Follow us on all of our socials: Twitter, X, TikTok, Telegram at Flywheel DeFi. You can follow me on Twitter at DeFiDay22.
You can follow me at 0xcapital_K.
And we'll see you next week. Peace. Everything said in this episode is not financial or tax advice. This channel is strictly for educational purposes and is not an investment advice or solicitation to buy or sell any assets or to make any financial decisions. This video is not tax advice whatsoever. Please talk to your accountant and do your own research.